And now for an amazing true story from the book of Nehemiah, chapters 2 through 8.
With God's help, Nehemiah had convinced the Persian king to allow him to go back to his homeland and to begin to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. But it was a much bigger job than Nehemiah had expected.
There's hardly any wall left, just rocks. And all the city gates have been burned down.
This left the city open to enemies on all sides.
We have to get started at once.
But as soon as work on the wall began, leaders from the surrounding lands came to mock them. Two men, Sanballat and Tobiah, strolled up to the wall as Nehemiah was struggling with a heavy rock.
Just what do you think you're doing?
Yeah, you gonna put the wall together by gluing?
The king's not going to like this.
He'll probably boo and hiss.
Nehemiah set down his stone and wiped the sweat off his face.
The God of heaven will give us success. We serve him. So we'll start rebuilding these walls. But you don't have any right to the city.
Suit yourself. You won't get very far.
Might as well wish on a star.
Do you have to rhyme everything I say?
No, not today.
The two men sauntered off, laughing. Nehemiah took a deep breath and turned back to the wall. He had an even bigger problem than Sanballat and Tobiah. The Israelites that were working on the wall were regular people. They were priests and perfume makers and goldsmiths, not builders.
Okay, everyone. All of you, from the priests and landowners down to the temple servants, are going to help. You'll each be in charge of a gate or tower or section of the wall. If you aren't sure what to do, ask someone to show you. Most importantly, ask God for help.
Okay.
You got it. Sounds like a plan. Okay, you heard the man. Let's go. Move it, move it.
Now, even though the Israelites were inexperienced builders, the work went by really quickly. Sanballat and Tobiah weren't happy with the progress. They even joked about it to their friends.
What are all those Jews trying to do? All the stones are piled up like trash.
If a fox ran on the wall, it would crash.
Seriously, the rhymes are driving me crazy.
Won't happen again. Oh, look, a daisy.
Oh!
Nehemiah heard what their enemies were saying, but he continued to pray to God and encourage the Israelites.
We're halfway there. Keep up the good work.
As Sanballat and Tobiah saw the wall growing higher, they plotted to attack Jerusalem. Nehemiah heard their plans, and once again, he called the Israelites together.
Don't be afraid of your enemies. Remember the Lord. He is great and powerful. So fight for your families.
From that day on, half of the men worked on the wall, while the other half guarded the workers with spears and shields.
Carry supplies with one hand and keep a weapon in the other hand. If you're building, wear your sword at your side. Oh, and if you hear the trumpet sound, you'll know we're under attack. Come join us there. Our God will fight for us.
For weeks and weeks, the Israelites worked from the very first light of morning until the stars came out at night. Soon, the wall was nearly finished. Only the new gates needed to be put in place still. Sanballat and Tobiah stared at the new, strong wall with disbelief.
We've got to come up with a way to trick Nehemiah.
Our chances aren't good, but I guess we could try,
Over and over, Sanballat and Tobiah tried to trick Nehemiah into coming out of the city or going somewhere where they could harm him. But each time, God gave Nehemiah wisdom to see their sneaky plans.
I'm working on a huge project, so I can't get away. Why should the work stop while I leave it? Why should I go down and talk with you?
In a short time, the Israelites' hard work and trust in God paid off.
The wall is finished. All the gates are in place. And with God's help, we've done it all in 52 days.
It was true. The huge, seemingly impossible task had been finished in less than 2 months. The Israelites' enemies stared at the strong city from a distance.
How did they do it? I just can't conceive it.
Their God must have helped them. You better believe it.
Inside the walls of Jerusalem, Nehemiah knew it was time to celebrate what God had done.
Gather everyone together at the water gate.
On the appointed day, all the Israelites, from the tiniest children to the oldest great-grandmother, gathered together at sunrise.
Now, Ezra will read to us from God's word.
From sunrise until noon, the prophet Ezra read to the Israelites all the laws that God had given to Moses so long ago, and they remembered the ways that God had helped them in the past, just as he had helped them rebuild the wall.
Now it's time for the feast.
Together, the Israelites shared all of their stories of everything that God had done for them. Their joy was so great it spilled over into laughter and singing. Nehemiah just stood back and watched, amazed at how far God had brought them all in such a short time.